Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bazil. Welcome to Gigantic Weekly. Yeah, that was really lame. I'm sorry. So, I want to talk about casual versus hardcore, quote unquote. This is something that has always been kind of thorn in everyone's kind of vocal cords. Why? Well, mainly because the term casual and hardcore has been thrown around as derogatory or uplifting words. Hardcore meaning, oh, you're so good at the game, blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, hardcore, you must have no life and live in your mom's basement. Or casual, like, oh, don't touch me, you filthy casual, which I use all the time because I think it's hilarious. Mainly just because, the meme is actually quite funny. But casual is also used in a negative way because it lumps people into the category of not good enough, or oh, you must play games on Facebook, you stupid casual gamer, that kind of stuff. That's not right. That's something that really isn't appropriate in terms of really any gaming community, to be quite frank there. So how can we kind of snip this at the bud a little bit? Now, of course, we're always going to use the casual, the hardcore, which is fine, but as long as we don't use it in some sort of like negative or derogatory way, I think that we can all benefit from that a little bit easier. Now, in terms of Gigantic, we're definitely going to have the casual players like myself. I am not going to be a hardcore player. I want to be a hardcore shoutcaster. That's what I want to do in this community, in this family, is I want to be able to do shoutcasting and make content for you guys that you guys will enjoy, or maybe not enjoy and make fun of me. That's fine too. I mean, entertainment's entertainment. So, in terms of casual, being casual is okay. If you have a job, if you have family, if you have kids, you're not going to be able to play as much as some of the quote-unquote hardcore folk. And kind of reversing that, hardcore players, you guys don't have to be the end-all, be-all superstars of the community to consider yourself hardcore. You can be really good and still be a casual. You can only play one or two times a week and still enjoy the game, but just be really good at it. But you're not a hardcore player, you're still a casual player. So I think that if we can maybe remove the hardcore terminology from at least Gigantic, it would better serve our community. And I think hardcore really kind of came from the MMO mentality, where you would raid 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week like I did, because apparently that's all I ever wanted to do, and I never really wanted human interaction. So that's what I did during way too long years of my junior high and high school life. And looking back on it, not the best choices. Why? Because it really didn't teach me anything about socialization. That's probably not a word, but it is now. Or how to interact with real people. And thankfully, I still went to church and youth groups and stuff, so I got my social interaction there. But people that don't have that opportunity and don't have any other forms of communication other than online, because it's so anonymous, gosh, say that 5 times fast, it really hurts the mindset of casual players when they look at someone like myself who kind of played way too much. So when we look at it as subjective, let's maybe take a step back and go, well, maybe this is all they know. Maybe they have a disability that they can't do anything. I've played with many people that have disabilities that have been put on medical, non-work leave, or whatever you want to call it, where they can't physically work. Like they literally are not allowed to work according to the U.S. government, and all they do is play video games, which sounds great at its core, but it's not hardcore. And I think that's really important, because not being able to do anything other than sit around the house would be fun for like the first month, and then it gets really boring. I've been unemployed for 7 months before. I know it sucks. It's cool at first, and then you're like, well, I need to go learn whittling or something, or else I'm going to burn down my house because it just gets that dull. And video games are an escape. But the problem is the more you play the video games and the more you become hardcore, the less likely you are to become some sort of real person. And I think we need to understand that when we call someone a hardcore gamer, that can sometimes offend them. That they might not have a choice other than to play video games, play MMOs, play League of Legends for 6 hours a day, sleep the other 24 minus 6 is some number, math hard. And it's really, really important to understand that if you're a hardcore player and you call someone a casual, you might be hurting their feelings in the same way. Because like myself, if someone calls me a casual, I don't care. I don't care if someone calls me a beep beepity beep beep sun-colored dried tomato beep beep. Like, I don't care. Words they bounce off me, whatever, that's fine. But other people may not have that mentality and may not be able to differentiate sarcasm from an actual insult. So using the term casuals and using the term hardcore on either side, I think, is really detrimental to any community, because it lumps us into some sort of high school category frat house. It's like, here's the cool kids, here's the cool uncool kids, here's the popular versus unpopular. And when I say that, I think of the scene from Chicken Little, where the coach is like, dodgeball, popular versus unpopular. And of course, you got the big fat pig, the ugly duckling, the really short guy, which was me, and then you have the really buff gym kids and all the jocks on one side, and they always pick on each other. So it creates that diversion in the community and creates that, well, he's a hardcore player, he must be really good, I'm only going to listen to his opinions. When the casual player might have actual more gaming experience in terms of, I don't know, just it's really hard to differentiate between game experience and the hardcore mentality. Hardcore means they just play a lot. That doesn't mean they're good. I've met a lot of hardcore players that are terrible at raiding or, League of Legends or Unreal Tournament or whatever, just because they're just not that good of a gamer. So I think it's really important to always accept criticism and feedback and ideas from all people rather than just the top hardcore quote-unquote players. And I think it's also really important for the casual players to take into consideration that hardcore players don't always mean assholes, because that's not fair either. So that's kind of my little weekly talk for you guys with the Gigantic Weekly, casual versus hardcore. What side do you fit on, and how do you think that it can affect gaming communities? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll have a discussion about it. So thanks for listening to the end of the video. I do appreciate it. I'm trying something a little bit different. I want to try and engage you guys a little bit more. So we'll see how this goes. Let me know if you kind of like the more engaging conversations in terms of trying to get you guys kind of in on the conversation. And we'll go from there. So have a great afternoon Have a great afternoon, morning, and or evening. There we go. That said that right. End card.